Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we are going to see yet another important topic in toxicology, that is lead poisoning. So the topic lead poisoning is going to be discussed under 8 topics, that is introduction, mechanism of action, acute poisoning, chronic poisoning, signs and symptoms, postmortem findings and medicolegal aspects. So first let us see about introduction. So lead is a very common heavy metal that causes toxicity. Lead poisoning can be classified into two types, that is acute lead poisoning and chronic lead poisoning. Chronic lead poisoning is also called as plumbism. In acute lead poisoning, it is like very least common and it can be occupational. Whereas in chronic lead poisoning or plumbism, it is the most common type and commonly seen in painters because lead is a very major component in paints. So lead poisoning is commonly seen in painters. Next, let us see about the mechanism of action. So this lead, it enters the body through inhalation or ingestion. So the dust lead particles is commonly inhaled or ingested. So after entering the body, combines with sulfhydryl and interferes with mitochondrial oxidative phosphorylation and ATPase formation, calcium dependent messengers and all that. So this is how it interferes into the normal cell mechanism of our body. Next, let us see the types of poisoning. So we already said that there are two types, acute lead poisoning and chronic lead poisoning. Acute lead poisoning, it is a very uncommon type. So let's see that in very little, and chronic lead poisoning will be seen in detail. So acute lead poisoning, the signs and symptoms are in GIT, there is commonly nausea, vomiting, burning abdominal pain, all that, and in CNS it will be headache, lethargy, arthralgia and myalgia. Next, let us come to the most important type of lead poisoning, that is chronic lead poisoning or plumbism or satanism. So it is also called as colica picorum, the colic of painters, painter's colic or Devonshire's colic. So what happens is that lead accumulates in bone as phosphate and carbonates. So the common cause of chronic lead poisoning is that we already said lead enters the body through ingestion or inhalation of lead containing dust. So these painters while working in paint factories, what they do when they mix paint and all that, these small lead containing dust enter their body through inhalation or ingestion. Next, let us see the signs and symptoms of chronic lead poisoning. So here it is going to be discussed as A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So first let us see A, that is anemia. So chronic lead poisoning causes two types of anemia, that is normocytic normochromic anemia or microcytic hypochromic anemia. This normocytic normochromic anemia is due to bone marrow suppression and microcytic hypochromic anemia is due to HB synthesis defect. Next, let us see B, that is Bartonian or Burton's line. This is nothing but a blue line is deposited in the gums. That is clearly, if you have to say, it is between the gums and the teeth. The place where the gums and the teeth joins, like this one. If this is the teeth, this is where the blue color line will be seen. Over here. So this is called as Burton's line or Bartonian's line. Next is basophilic stippling and then bone line. So in chronic lead poisoning case, if you take an X-ray of any of the long bones like humerus, femur and all that, there will be opacity of metaphyses of long bone. So there will be like in the X-ray itself, there will be one space where there is like very dense opacified line seen in the X-ray. Next is C. So for C, we are going to see colic. We already said chronic lead poisoning has a condition called painter's colic. And then constipation, and then Cabot's ring. Cabot's ring presents with a loop or 8-like ring in the cytoplasm of RBC. Next is D. So D is drops, that is wrist drop and foot drop. Next E. E is encephalopathy. So the patient presents with learning disability, irritability and all that. F is for facial pallor. This is the most consistent sign, and the least consistent sign is that this Bartonian line. This is the least consistent sign. Because it is only seen in like 60 to 70% of chronic lead poisoning cases. And then next is G, that is gout. So to make the clinical features more easy for you all, I have made a clinical representation in a diagram in a man. So we call this man as lead man. This man has there are two people. This is the early symptoms of chronic lead poisoning, and this is this man presents with late symptoms of chronic lead poisoning. So in early symptoms, we see fatigue, headache, irritability, metallic taste, basophilic stippling, loss of libido, weight loss, infertility, menstrual irregularity in females, and wrist drop. All this will be seen in early symptoms. Next, let us see about the late symptoms, that is memory problems, sleep disturbances, metaphyseal bone line, renal failure, weight loss, anemia, constipation and colic. Next, let us see the postmortem findings. So in postmortem findings, a blue line may appear in the gums of the patient. We already said that this is also called as Bartonian line, but this is not a prominent feature or constant feature. As we already said, this is present only in 60 to 70% of patients. And then paralyzed muscle show fatty degeneration. Heart may show hypertrophy, atherosclerosis. Stomach and intestine may show ulcerative and hemorrhagic changes. Liver and kidney may be contracted and hard, and brain may present to be pale. Next, to the final part, that is medico-legal aspects. Accidental chronic poisoning is common because people working in painting industries and all, they won't even know they're getting exposed to so much of lead and they're being chronically poisoned. So accidental chronic poisoning is common, and homicidal and suicidal poisoning is rare. So with this, I end today's lecture. Hope you found this helpful. If you found it helpful, consider subscribing to the channel for more such videos. Do like and share the video. Thank you so much.